All right. Welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark, the number one stock market show on Spotify and one of the most popular market updates on YouTube. In this show, we talk about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading them. Today is Monday, November 25th, and Marcus is traveling, so I have things covered for today. But here's a look at the markets. The Dow closes with a new weekly record. Stocks kick off the holiday week with more gains. Traders like Trump's Treasury Secretary pick. We'll take a look at why. Bitcoin dips after approaching 100K. Yields are falling. Bath and Body Works soars. And Cassava Sciences teaches biotech traders a lesson. Plus, we'll look at our open positions. As you can see, there's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here, my name is Mark Hodge. I'm head coach at Rockwell Trading, and let's go ahead and jump to the charts here. And here we have the S&P 500 making a move, and let's see, we had a high of 60.17 today, getting up to 60.20 and pulling back a little bit, but still positive for the day. I think we need to look at a weekly chart, though, because after the big losing week that we had 2 weeks ago, last week markets were able to finish higher. The S&P finished 1.7% higher, but it was the Dow that led the way. The Dow actually making a new record close. If we look at a weekly chart, up 2% last week. A new record today, too, leading the way up 0.9%. So the Dow taking off, actually looking pretty good today, while the other markets have pulled back just a little bit. The NASDAQ also higher last week, finishing higher by 1.7%. Looks like the move's fizzling out a little bit today, up just 0.4%. So the Dow's leading the way. We have to look at the IWM, the Russell 2000, though, because just like the Dow, small caps are on the move. Look at this, a huge move last week, up 4.5%. Erasing the losses that we had the week prior. And this week, even though there's been a little bit of a pause, small caps off to the races, up big for the trading session after a gap higher. And right now, trading near session highs, up 2.5%. So a huge move in the Russell 2000 and some interesting movement all in all. Let's talk a little bit about why. And this is where, if we look at the mini S&P 500 and we go to a 5-minute chart, interesting to see the movement that we've seen today. Here we see Sunday evening, we started with a gap higher, right? So markets are closed over the weekend. And we actually heard news that Scott Bessent was Trump's Treasury Secretary pick late Friday, but the first reaction took place yesterday when futures opened up, kind of chopping around for the most part. And interesting to see, right around 8:30 Eastern time, we started to rally. Now, there's actually nothing news-wise on the economic calendar that could have led to this move higher. Looking into this a little bit more, it looks like a lot of this came after yields fell. The 10-year yield is down 2.5%. And the 10-year yield started to slide here around 7:25 Eastern time, pulling back, pausing right around here. And I think this is when we started to see this reaction to Trump's Treasury Secretary pick. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, it's because there have always been concerns about Trump's tariff policies and how it could impact inflation. And this has been balanced with the growth prospects that a Trump administration could have on the U.S. economy, right? So that has overshadowed, or that is actually, it's overshadowed the potential for tariffs to cause some concerns with inflation. Everybody doesn't want inflation to be another issue moving forward. And yes, Trump's policies could be great for growth, but that's always been a bit of a concern on exactly what would happen with the Fed's fight against inflation and tariffs in particular. Now, his nomination of Scott Bessent here, we see that he's a former hedge fund manager. He actually worked for Soros, which is a little bit interesting. But he would replace Janet Yellen as the Treasury Secretary. And we see here from CNBC that Trump wants someone with strong market credentials as well as a similar philosophy for the role. And I think that this is actually a big positive because there were some concerns with what would happen with tariffs, and also whether or not an expert or someone with a considerable amount of knowledge would be appointed to an important role like this. And he has some pretty decent credentials. So not only does he has some decent credentials, but he also said in a CNBC interview after the election that, quote, would recommend that tariffs be layered in gradually. So supporting Trump's tariff philosophy, but also understanding the implications on the overall market and what it might mean. He is on record as saying that this is something that he wants to implement gradually rather than hitting things, full steam ahead and not caring about the impact. It seems like this is just embraced by investors and liking that news. And that's why yields started to fall and pull back after this rally since the election, and why U.S. markets are moving with the Dow and small caps just taking off. So we'll see where we end up the trading day, but that explains a little bit of this market move in what is historically a lower volatility, quiet week of trading, with it being a holiday week. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and go to PowerX Optimizer and take a look at the calendars here and just talk about what's in store for us. Looking at the economic calendar, nothing on Monday that's market moving, just like I said. And then we see tomorrow we do have consumer confidence, we have new home sales, FOMC meeting minutes. So a couple of things that are minor on the calendar that you never know if something comes out and it's market moving. Wednesday picks up a little bit when it comes to the economic calendar, but we know that usually this is a slower week of trading because of the holiday. So on Thursday, markets are closed. On Friday, we have a short trading session. So on Thursday, we're closed, and on Friday we close at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And many big traders decide to take a little bit of a break this week. So you typically see lower volume and activity taking place. We can take a look at the earnings calendar and see what's going on. A couple of companies reporting today and also tomorrow. Tomorrow we get Analog Devices, ADI before the bell, Best Buy before the bell, Dick's Sporting Goods, Burlington, a couple others before the bell. So there are a few things early on, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday should be pretty quiet, especially after Wednesday's open. Once we kind of get a feel for what's going on based on the economic calendar, it should be a pretty quiet session with this being a holiday week. Now, before we take a look at some open positions, we have to take a look at a few other markets. And actually, let's go to Bitcoin here, because 100K was the big talk for Bitcoin, and everybody was wondering, will we hit 100K? Will we be able to breach it? Will it just rally past there, or will it pull back? Well, got up to 99,800 on Friday and is retreating today, down 2.3%. A minor move compared to where this has been trading, but wasn't able to breach 100,000. Getting close, though, down a little bit today. While we're here, we might as well take a look at crude oil. Crude oil pulling back pretty significantly today, down 2.6%. Nice week last week. So on a weekly chart, we could see that crude oil was up 6.3%, giving back about a third of that move today. We'll see where it ends up, but crude oil down for the day. Another couple of movers here. Let's look at, not Best Buy. It's Bed Bath and Beyond. No, I want to look at Bath and Body Works. Why can't I remember this? There we go. BBWI. I should know that. Bed Bath and Beyond is not Bath and Body Works. It's also not Best Buy. So BBWI is the ticker. Look at this, up 17%. Huge move, an earnings beat, a revenue beat, just an outstanding earnings reaction and earnings report, and investors liking this report with a huge gap of 17% today. Now, if you want to know why it's a little bit difficult to trade biotechs and why most people should stay away from biotech, we have to learn a lesson from SAVA, SAVA. This is Cassava Sciences. And look at this. On Friday, closing at 26.48. In fact, on Thursday, just the day before, closing at 32.18. So on Thursday, it was trading at 32.18, a 17% drop on Friday, maybe some rumors there hitting. And then on, Monday at the open, we're trading $4 a share, down 85% from Friday's close to today's open. Horrible move. And we know that there's always exceptional risk with biotech. Sure, there can be some huge reward to the upside, but it doesn't come without great risk potentially to the downside. They halted their late stage trials of, I'm going to pronounce this wrong probably, but Simuflam, Alzheimer's disease treatment. The drug failed to reduce the decline of cognitive function in patients in the study who had mild or moderate Alzheimer's. So that coming from CNBC. This has just been a company that's kind of been dealing with some issues, and there was even a scientist or an executive, I think 2 executives actually, that are being investigated, or they allegedly had made misleading claims about the company's clinical trials going back to 2020 in order to get some research. Just kind of a mess of a situation here and a fall from grace. Look at this. After IPOing and trading around, going into the pandemic, it pulled back a little bit. And then in 2021, after the raises, at one point, trading as high as $146. And like I said, just on Friday, it was trading at $27 a share, now at $4.12 on this news. So hopefully nobody watching this is trading Cassava Sciences, and if you are, hopefully you've made money on other biotechs to offset this big drop, because this is not what we ever want to see. It's also why you should be cautious when trading biotech stocks. Let's take a look at open positions, and let's go to the WTF analyzer, one of our favorite strategies, the WTF strategy, which stands for win the fear, which allows us to step in when others might be stepping out, to give us a high probability opportunity for a bounce and quick recovery. And right now, with markets just popping higher, no new opportunities, no open trades that we are in or have decided not to take, and also no exits. So keeping an eye on the WTF analyzer for new opportunities. Nothing today. Looking at some open wheel trades, I am in BP. BP had a nice Friday. Today, pulling back a little bit with crude oil down 1.4%. CSIQ making a move. So with Friday's gain up 5.4%, today up 10%. This is outstanding for 2 reasons. This is all based on Bissett and Trump's Treasury Secretary announcement there, because yields are falling, which we know will help solar and CSIQ, but also tariffs. If tariffs are delayed and don't essentially kick off in full force when the Trump administration takes over, that would be a good thing for CSIQ. And CSIQ rallying on this news, so up 10% here. That works for me. Halliburton, a trade that I'm in. Actually, this was looking pretty good today. Got up to 32.57, pulling back a little bit with crude oil, down just 0.17% right now. Not a big deal here, but Halliburton making some nice moves over the last couple of weeks, just looking for this to continue to get back to my cost basis so I could sell calls. Coles, I am not in Coles, but Coles making a nice run today, up 9.3%. Coles does report earnings tomorrow. And actually, if we look in PowerX Optimizer, we could see if that is before the bell or after the bell. We see that it is before markets open tomorrow. So we'll see what Coles has to say and more importantly, how the market reacts. Merck also making a move higher. This is a trade that Marcus is in. I am not. And then there's UPS. UPS taking off too. I'll take this. So UPS, nice day on Friday, up 2.6%. Today, up 2.8%. So a continued move higher. Just want to see this make its way back up to the reaction to earnings that we initially had. After that, I think it's off to the races, but can't complain here. Breaking outside of this recent range and a nice day for UPS. So once again, if we take another look at the calendar, what to do this week and what to be aware of. Tomorrow and Wednesday, there are some items on the economic calendar. The busiest is probably going to be Wednesday morning. However, typically when we have Thanksgiving week, markets aren't moving a whole lot, and there's usually lower volatility and less volume, just with big traders taking some time off around the holidays, making an excuse to not just be off on Thursday, but having the 4-day weekend with travel on Wednesday, Tuesday, and heading out early on Monday. So we'll see what the markets want to give us. Right now, though, pretty decent day. Can't complain. Before we wrap things up here, if you like this video, before we talk about dad jokes, please give it a thumbs up. And we appreciate you for viewing our channel, for viewing these videos, and just for having a good time with trading. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, but you've been watching the channel for a while, please do. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share it. With that said, it's dad joke time. And like normal, they get worse when Marcus isn't around because there just isn't that same competitive fight in me. But I hope you appreciate this one. Which is faster, hot or cold? Cold, because you can catch a cold. And hopefully nobody does this week. It's the holidays. Nobody wants that. We're going to leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, happy trading, everybody.